Welcome to World of Marketing Podcast, a Foster Web Marketing production. Here's your host, Tom Foster.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to the World of Marketing, where I talk with industry leaders about marketing, mindset, and business growth. This episode is brought to you by my own company, Foster Web Marketing. We've been providing web technology and marketing services for over 20 years. I can't believe it. FWM is your secret weapon to increasing revenue, profits, and productivity. Please visit our website at Foster Web Marketing if you want to know more. Today, my special guest is Sarah Allen, and she's with Ruby, one of our great partners, the US-based live virtual receptionist and chat specialist company that creates meaningful human connections to help small businesses grow. Ruby delivers personalized chat client service to help lawyers book new clients and strengthen existing client relationships. Sarah works with 50-plus bar associations as well as other industry organizations and thought leaders to help law firms grow their practices. So she is well-connected and well-versed in the area of law firm marketing. That is for sure. Welcome, Sarah. Welcome to the World of Marketing, and thanks for being on the show.
Thank you so much for having me. It's good to be here.
And today we're here to talk about this cool new book that, well, it's not as new, but it came out not long ago.
Yeah, last month.
X-Pectation Files, right?
Yeah. Exactly. It's basically about kind of the myths that we have about customer service or customer expectations. And we kind of have a fun play on kind of the X-Files, the X-Pectation Files of what do customers expect. Yeah. And so we had a lot of fun designing it.
The truth is out there.
The truth is out there. And we're here.
I should have like sound effects and like, ooh, 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 ooh.
There you go.
Ooh, ooh, ooh. There, I added my own.
Going.
Right.
Exactly.
I'm sure that the guys in post-production will add some stuff to this and make me look silly. They usually do. That'll be great. They make you look good and make me look silly. That's what they do.
All right.
So there's a lot of facts that you guys found out in this, and we're gonna like tell everybody, but I suggest that everybody gets a copy of this. Now, first of all, how can people get a copy of this?
You know, and I can share a special, I can share a link with you to have, in the show notes. That would probably be the easiest way to do it. And then we can just include a link in these show notes to access.
Very good. We're going to put it in the show notes so everybody will see those in the link down below. But one thing that we know, the first thing that we know is that the truth is that customers will pay more for better service, right?
Yeah, that's kind of where we start. There's kind of a handful of big kind of myths that people have about customer service. And one is a question of, will consumers pay more for better customer service? And it turns out that, the research shows that they will, with 83% of people expecting, and willing to pay more for that, with that human aspect of customer service. So always having a human there to answer the phone and to really create that good service, versus a lot of those automated services.
A lot of companies have tried to automate customer service and it has failed miserably, right?
Yeah, exactly. And so this is where people, if you offer these services, if you offer great customer service, they will be willing to pay more, with 83% of people wanting to pay more and up to 16% more as well. So it's definitely worth it in a growing business.
And we have found that in my own company that, people howl when they don't get immediate customer service or great customer support, and they're like, we will pay for this, We're like, okay. So you're right. I totally agree with you. So what is the next myth that you found? Myth you busted.
Yeah, and kind of with those, with knowing that folks will pay more, kind of knowing that, it's time to then look at your actual business and kind of see where you're at now as far as customer service, and then just improving what you're already doing. So just really changing your customer service to be able to provide the best service you possibly can. And as a result, paying attention to the feedback from folks. And once you have that feedback, then you have the ability to increase your prices as a result. But the next one we really looked at is response time. So this is a huge one, especially in the legal industry too, is that client expectations are that, they expect a response time right away within, 10 minutes or 5 minutes. If they don't get that response, they might go to the next person. So if they're not a client yet, then they might just go to the next person on Google. So to make sure that you're there and available to answer those calls or those web connections right away.
And that is so true. And Ruby knows this so well. And it's funny because we have sent so many clients, referred so many clients to Ruby because of this exact thing. That so many lawyers think that, oh, well, they called at night and they left a message on the answering machine. They still have answering machines, and they're wondering, and then they call the next day and they're like, oh no, they already called another law firm. They wonder, and they're like shocked, right? Yeah. I mean, this is still happening.
Mm-hmm. And everyone expects that immediate response. Most people do. And they're going to go elsewhere if they don't get it. And even that's not just for potential clients, but that's current clients. Right. Is that if they're not satisfied with, and if they're not getting responses from you, they'll go elsewhere.
This is the internet age. I mean, we're in it. I mean, like we're open 24/7. I mean, like people expect this 24/7 service. Exactly. And you need to have, listen, lawyers and doctors and everybody, you need to make sure that when that phone rings, that someone is answering the phone and not your answering machine saying, we'll be out and we'll, for you, it's critical. And even if it's just, somebody will be right back with you. The lawyer may not be right available, but at least somebody is answering the phone. And that's something that Ruby does.
Yeah. And making sure that whoever is answering the phone, whether it is an in-house receptionist or a paralegal or a virtual receptionist, whoever it is, they can get those critical intake, pieces of information so that you have that information to follow up with them right away and that you don't have any more questions. So whoever is answering the phone, make sure that they're able to get all the right information up front.
And that kind of leads us into the next thing, which is really interesting to me because this is where we're at, is that you don't get a lot of second chances anymore in this business, that somebody's going to leave. And this is what your data proves, is that they're going to leave after one single bad experience.
A lot of times, yeah. It's not. The good thing is most people are willing to give a few chances.
Right.
Second chance. Sometimes
it depends upon the relationship that they have with that brand, with that company.
Yeah. Right. So the trust needs to be there. But a lot of times, really that third chance is that third strike, you're out. If you don't solve, if they do have one bad experience, that's okay. If you respond well and you fix that situation, if you correct, that experience and you're able to really be there and build that trust, they will give you a second chance. But it's rare that you get that third chance. At that point, they're kind of, their patience has run out, and a lot of times that third negative experience, they will go elsewhere. So it's really important to just respond well in those cases, understanding what they expect, because it does depend on the industry. For legal and for healthcare, it's very different, or for a lot of other industries, it looks very different what customers expect. But knowing what your clients expect from the get-go and then be able to match those. And pay attention to those reviews and their feedback after that bad experience. so that that doesn't happen again.
Right. And do something about it.
Right.
So this is what interesting too is because, and I want you to explain this one to me, which is that customer service technology has replaced people. So how do you mean that?
Actually, the question was really, we asked, the myth was, has customer service
Oh,
technology replaced humans? And the answer
okay.
is no. So this is a big assumption, I
That's what I
think, for a
was
lot of folks.
wondering. Yeah,
Yeah,
because it hasn't. Like people still want to talk to people.
they do, but there's a lot of folks that think automation is the answer. Or a lot of times it can be so convenient and it can be so easy to
And
have
here
these
we are in the
automated
land of
tools.
AI coming out, and a lot of they're trying. And it's so funny how humans are, isn't it? Like humans, we love technology. We love like, oh, let's see if this can save us a buck. Let's see if this can save us time. And we end up hating it.
Yeah, and I think for businesses and growing businesses that don't necessarily have an in-house team of receptionists, a lot of times it can be easier. It can be a convenient solution that's really easy to implement, but people don't realize how much business they're actually losing. Because a lot of those, especially the automated voice systems, so a lot of those kind of those voice
They're
responses that,
terrible.
yeah, which is just the phone tree, press one to speak to so and so and press two to speak to
I'm
so
always
and so.
hitting 000 as soon as I can. Get me to a human and yelling. I want to talk to a human.
Yeah,
I'm
it's
that guy.
frustrating on the other end, and it definitely isn't going to help your business. It definitely it gets it kind of interrupts that trust, that human connection they're looking for, especially in these service-based businesses that's all about that human connection, with the service that you're offering. So especially with legal and with healthcare, you want to trust the people that you're talking to. These
Yeah.
aren't easy conversations to have. So you really want to have a human on the other end to give that, empathetic responsiveness. And it turns out actually 98% of people will just bypass those automated systems regularly. So
Yeah.
with almost 100% of people doing that, you definitely want to get rid of that. So if you do have that automated system, if it's possible to be able to have a human answering it, and if they're not able to solve all of their problems right now, just make sure that you have a human getting all that intake, making sure that they're taking in all that critical information, so that when they do get that information to the business owner, that they have it at their fingertips. But it definitely turns the customer off when they're reaching out to your business.
I remember I'm part of Navy Federal Credit Union,
Mhm.
and that's my bank. And years ago, they had that whole automated system where you press one, press two, whatever, and that
Mhm.
drove me nuts. I would be yelling at, like I was saying, and now they don't have that anymore. Now it's like you're immediately talking to human beings. So they must have either read your report
There you
or
go.
figured it out themselves. Thank goodness.
Yeah, and because there is a lot of revenue lost when, you'll either, you'll have people get frustrated and then go to your competitor a lot of times, because they're finding you through Google, or um, you'll have that frustrated person that might not end up working with you because they've already had a frustrating experience and it wasn't that friendly human connection from the beginning. So that's kind of the first step, is getting rid of the automated service, having a human answering the phones. And then we also are looking at, with website connections, having that on their website, either with live chat or chat bots. So a lot of times chat bots can be super helpful for a lot of those repetitive tasks or repetitive answers. So, for a basic question on your website, they could answer an FAQ. But you want to be careful how often you use those, because those can often turn people away too if they can't provide real answers to someone.
Right. You don't want to like 100% lean on those. Those are designed to quickly answer questions, and that leads us to the last myth, which I'm like 100%, which is the phone call. Is the phone call dead? And that is totally a myth.
Yeah, but then it's interesting because it seems very obvious to you, but there still are a lot of people that,
And I'm a web guy. I've been building websites for 25 years, and I'm still, and I'm with you, Sarah. I still find websites that don't have a phone number on them.
right. Yes, that is a huge problem. And I think that's something maybe people just don't think about, that they need to
Right.
make
They're like, oh,
so
well,
clear.
they're on the
Make it
web.
clear
That's how they
for
do it. They fill out
people.
a contact form or chat. But you're right, like you were saying. I mean, like, okay, sure, they might be able to get some information, but they're going to want to talk to somebody. And people that are ready to engage,
Hmm.
they want to do it quick. And the fastest way to do that is through the phone.
Because they need to answer right away.
Right.
And it's going to be frustrating if, even if they fill out a form and you respond right away in 5 minutes, they still
Going to be on the, you're going to get on the
still,
phone.
they still have more questions, and they're not going, they're going to have multiple questions, especially in the legal industry and in healthcare. There are lots of questions. It's not kind of, it's not, it's too much to put into a form fill anyway. So you really have to have that phone conversation.
Right.
But making it, like you said, very clear on your website, having it on all of the pages on your website, making it really easy to reach out to you, whether it's your phone or on your website. That's why, having your phone number everywhere, making it so easy, and having live chat where people can easily reach out to you right away. A form fill is great, but it's not automatic. And so having, that live chat just makes it so easy to reach out to someone too. And then it just builds that ease of communication with you. It builds that trust, and it kind of takes down a lot of those barriers that might be kind of worrisome for people. That it is really easy to reach out to me. I'm accessible, and I'm here to answer your questions, especially because, in the legal space, especially, there's going to be a lot of questions. And it's just too much to put into a form fill.
Yep, 100%. Well, Sarah, I appreciate so much your time today on the X-Pectation Files.
Yeah.
This is fantastic stuff, and there's more in it than what we just kind of glossed over just a little bit what's in it. So I suggest to everybody click on the link below, and get the X-Pectation File. I love it, X-Pectation Files. And you guys put out great stuff. What a great company Ruby is. We've referred hundreds of lawyers and doctors to you guys, and we will continue to do so because you guys just do a fantastic job. I've never heard a bad word about it from anybody coming back.
I'm so glad to hear that. Yeah,
Yes.
and that's why we're here, really, just to take the stress off of you, off of the business owner, give you time back in your day. Making sure that all of the calls are answered and everyone's taken care of, and that, it isn't a burden to you, or you're not distracted from your work, to focus on growing your business and focusing on being, on your practice and the area of expertise that your core competency. Basically, we kind of become an extension of your team and help with that. So
Yeah, and the other thing about you guys, and I'm just going to keep talking about how great you are, is that specifically for lawyers and doctors, is that your teams are trained on empathy, on treating people right. So it's not just
that.
right.
Yeah. So that, as far as, exactly, just being able to care for people on the call. And that's one thing that, as far as just the quality of the conversations and kind of the
Right.
wowism that we term, is that every call is a connection, and every call is the opportunity to build a relationship. And that's something that gets dismissed a lot of times when people are thinking about simplicity or automation with this. When it comes to client communication, you really should be thinking about, how can I build that connection, and how can I build that relationship with them, versus automating that.
Right, because you guys get to know the client and get to understand the business, and you really become part of the team. And that's really, you become an extension of the firm in many cases.
Yeah, and we want to partner, and that's what's so fun to hear those stories of, we become a partner of yours, that we really become a part of the team, that they don't know that they're talking to Ruby. They think they're talking to an in-house receptionist with you. And we definitely want to wow those people, because it's really about creating that connection. And I think sometimes we forget about how important phone calls are. But even more, I think since the pandemic, people want to connect. And people will remember more than anything how you made them feel over the phone. And that's going to be memorable. And they're going to build that, from the beginning, from that first interaction. I
was just with my friend Matt White of Gray and White, who's in Louisville, Kentucky, that does nursing home injuries, trucking injuries, who's been using you guys for years and years and years. And I was just with him shooting a bunch of new videos, and we were just talking about how great you guys are.
Oh, that's great.
So listen, folks. If you are looking for this, if you're looking and listen, Ruby is a better receptionist than hiring a receptionist. I'm telling you right now, this is where you should start. Then training a receptionist, because they already know how to answer tough questions from prospective clients that are perhaps injured or and that are emotionally, in an emotional state. They know what they're doing. So I encourage everybody to at least have a conversation with Ruby. Get this X-Pectation Files. Sarah Allen, it was wonderful having you on my program. It's great to see you again.
It's great to see you, and thank you for having me.
Thank you. Stand by, okay? All right, everybody. It's been Tom Foster and Sarah Allen from Ruby Receptionist on the World of Marketing. Have a wonderful day. Thank you so much.